Have you ever wondered how a pair of lineman pliers are made? Check this out. So recently I went up to the Klein forging factory up in Chicago. If you haven't seen before, I've got some videos down in Texas where they do a whole machining process on these tools. It's kind of the latter half of it, but the first half, the forging, that's the cool part. So one thing that I did not know is that there's actually a difference between forging and casting. When I think of forging, I think of some like blacksmith just like hammering on stuff and like pouring liquid into something and like forming it, but those two things are actually different. So casting is when they take like a molten material and pour it into something and it takes shape. Forging is when you're basically hammering a piece of hot steel into a shape. So all of Klein's stuff is forged in this forging factory. The first step is they have these huge 20-foot long pieces of rolled tube steel. And they take these massive bundles at 20 feet and they load them onto this machine. And the first thing the machine does is it cuts them down to probably around 18-inch pieces. Now it depends on what kind of tool that they're making. A simple set of pliers that are small versus like a high leverage set of lineman pliers or side cutting pliers, things like that. They're going to be a little bit different. So each one of these tubes, they've got a little bit different diameter and size, but essentially they are cut down through this process and they're fed onto an assembly line. And that assembly line pulls that piece of steel to an induction heater. So it's actually using induction, electrical induction, to heat that thing to thousands of degrees, so when it pops out, it's red hot and glowing. From there, the next thing is it gets brought into this massive forging machine. And this machine is tens of thousands of pounds. The machine hammers down on the steel to shape it into the tool it's going to become. Then the robot delivers the steel and the machine hammers it into shape. They make these molds, essentially. Each tool has a different mold, but it's got a die. So each tool has a specific die where it will press this steel into two different halves into this kind of hot plate. And then what pops out is this hot plate that's got a bunch of excess steel around it. And then it has the two sides of the tool. So they have to trim that out. So it goes through a trimming machine and a robot trims everything. So you actually get two pieces of a pliers that pops out. After these two halves of the pliers come out, the next thing that they do is bring it through an annealing process. So an annealing process is kind of a heating process that changes the nature of the steel after the forging process. From there, it's brought in and it's actually tumbled in this huge vat. So this vat has some steel in it, and it's kind of a similar process to sandblasting. It's just they use steel shot instead of sand, so it's a lot more abrasive. But what they're trying to do is get all of the scaling that's on these things off. So they go through about a 20-minute cycle of just tumbling the crap out of these things, and it peels off all of that extra scale from that heating process. Then after they are tumble blasted, they go into what is called a coining process. And coining is kind of one step further before sending them off to be machined. It's a way for them to get tighter tolerances, because a lot of times these things are machined at a different facility down in Texas, and if they're not coined, they'll have a little bit loose tolerances and they won't match up when these things are finally reassembled. So this coining process tightens up all of the tolerances and kind of does one level of machining before the actual machining process. Then what you have are two final blanks, and these blanks now need to be machined. They actually have to be have the cutting edge added to them. They have to be smoothed out. They have to have the pins inserted in them, so the two halves become one tool. Now, one really cool thing to note is that all of these forged tools are made here and assembled here in the US. We have a lot of manufacturers out there that claim to be US made. It's because they have like an engineering office in the US, but then everything is sourced overseas. Everything in this process, even the steel that they buy locally in the US. The engineers at Klein design all of the drawings for everything, all of the machines, the processes, everything is all done in-house. Whereas a lot of people, again, just farm that stuff out. They'll say, hey, we want you to draw up something for us, and it comes back, and then it's made. So these guys are doing everything themselves. They've got employees that are actually working, feeding things into all of this equipment. Then it's sent again within the US for a further machining process later. And then at that facility, that's where everything gets packaged up and then put in boxes and put on trucks, and then is shipped out to distributors. 100% of the way, the whole time, it is US made. So I have a further video if you're interested in seeing how the machining process works and how the final cutting and everything happens in the CNC machines for how these things are assembled. Click here, really rad video. If you're interested in seeing things like their screwdrivers or nut drivers, I have another video when I was down in Texas at that factory that shows that process as well from beginning to end. Come join us in Discord, have all kinds of nerdy conversations about switches and wires and stuff like that. I love you crazy people. Thanks for your attention. I'll see you in the next one.